Pretty cool. Lavender Motors. Cool.
How are you?
Good, how are you? Cool.
Any questions?
Oh, not yet. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
It's really weird. Like I had shrimp in Nashville, and literally I went into like a
Is it okay to go inside?
I'm sorry?
Is it okay to go
Yeah,
inside?
absolutely.
Are you're with GM?
I do.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you do the Chevy and all of them, right?
Yeah, so this is our bright truck vehicle. This is the 400.
Cool.
So please feel free to go in and take a look.
Wow. Nice. What's the what's? Cool.
Yeah.
Let us know if you have any questions.
Okay, you got it. What's the? Is there like a spec sheet on it, like a range and so forth? Or is it
So
like,
the range starts about 191 city, 150 for highway range, and then you can up that to 277
Oh, right.
with a
Okay.
larger battery pack.
Got it. So this is like the standard low,
Yeah,
the
the
base
standard
model.
400 series, so a little over 400 cubic feet. You can get one 4 feet longer. It's a little over 600 cubic feet, the 600 series.
Right drop. Yeah. Interesting.
11,000 GVWR. It's got about
Oh,
a
cool.
3,800 pound capacity, and the 3,750 in this one, and then
Uh-huh.
a little bit less than the bigger one.
How much bigger is the other one?
4 feet longer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And the same.
Adds
same
a couple hundred feet, square cubic feet.
Got it. Okay. Cool. All right. Very good. When is it? Is it available? Like.
It is available now.
Oh, okay. Wow. Cool. Nice. Well, good to see it. And what's it using for charging?
It's got the
Oh,
traditional
okay.
charger.
Got it. So no
Fast charger.
NACS yet, huh?
No,
Well, is that coming?
I actually got a charging expert right here. He had a question about the charging.
Is NACS available or coming or not for this one?
the connect this port is
Yeah.
going to be CCS.
Okay.
But the thing is that with an adapter you
Yeah, of
can
course.
charge
yeah.
on
Yeah,
Max.
yeah. That's where
Yeah.
everybody seems to be like as the interim solution.
Exactly
But NACS
right.
is long term.
Exactly.
You know, it seems to be the way to go.
Yeah.
But you know, it's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're
Okay,
welcome.
take
No
care.
worries.
Yeah, thank you.
Lindsay and
Are you guys doing a thing here, spinning or something? Are you guys doing a wheel?
Yeah, it's a little scavenger hunt.
Oh, a scavenger hunt too? Okay, maybe I'll come back later.
Yeah, come back later.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I see. Here it is. Cool.
So my name is Dr. Erica Mata. I am a member of the Kubat Work team. Kubat Work is Google's philanthropic social impact arm. Specifically, I work on programming that encourages young students of color to pursue industries such as the tech industry and jobs such as software engineering, UX design, et cetera, et cetera. Most recently, I helped found our program for Next to Inglewood, which is kitty corner right down the street from SoFi Stadium, where we are teaching kids everything under the sun about programming with JavaScript, laser cutting, artificial intelligence, and more. And I also feel like it's important to say, I am at two ends of the spectrum. I have a 2023 Tesla, and I have a 2009 Volkswagen Jetta that I refuse to part with and will never give it up until the end of time. Okay, now I will turn it over to Marcus.
All right, so my name is Mark Spicam, as they say, and I'm the President and Chief Executive at Carmel Automotive. So Carmel Automotive is America's one and only ultra-luxury vehicle manufacturer. So what does that mean? It hasn't been since the 30s, 40s, and 50s that there have been American automotive brands, full range brands at the pinnacle of automotive. So think the European imports that come from Italy or from Italy, and the UK primarily, to a lesser degree Germany. We love those cars as car enthusiasts. They drive passion and get people excited about the automotive industry. But we haven't had that space in the US, again, in decades. So we are going to fill that void. Now, why is that important for this conversation that we're having? Carmel's business has three fundamental pillars. We make outstanding, incredible, super exciting, highly passionate product. Second, we see ourselves as an incubator for next generation software and technologies. So I come from a background in Silicon Valley, developing software for all the auto manufacturers before I had this job. And the last is, we want to see that Carmel leaves a legacy, and that we are moving the workforce in the direction of embracing the next generation of transportation. Because you need to have an ecosystem that's vibrant, from GED to PhD. Everyone needs to understand their role. And I frankly think that that's one of the mistakes that we've made thus far. So that's why we're here, and let's have a conversation.
Amazing. And we're just gonna hop straight into it and make the most of the time that we have with you. Given your background, not just as a learner yourself in these industries, but also as somebody leading the way. So let's just start off with probably something that a lot of people are thinking about, which is a lot of the rapid advancements in artificial intelligence, such as the Google Gemini technology. What do you see as the essential skills for the next generation of EV technicians?
Well, for the EV technicians in the future, so one of the things I think we made a mistake on is we focused on building better batteries, building better motors, right? And the overall architecture and software that goes into the car. But we never spend any time to tell the rest of the world how they're going to fit. Okay, so we got to a place where the perspective on the EV culture is that it's for the elite only. But the reality is the ecosystem in automotive across every country on the planet goes all the way down to the technician and works its way back up. Now, in the future, those technicians are going to have skills in high voltage. They're going to have an understanding of chemistries. They're going to have a basic understanding of software. They absolutely will have to understand how to utilize AI tools. So what we have to do now is create a vehicle for them to get that engagement and for them to be passionate about it. So if you're in Italy, in Maranello, you see Ferrari and you say, God, if I just be a janitor at Ferrari, it would be a dream come true. Well, if I give someone the opportunity to have that same kind of passion, if I take a kid who is living in a neighborhood and says they're making supercars down the street from me, and there's a chance for me to be involved in that, there's a chance for me to see it, then we have the opportunity to create that motivation. And they can walk into STEM technology, STEM enterprises and ideas because they're excited about it, not because someone told them what they have to do.
I completely agree because I've seen that firsthand with the CodeNext program that I helped run. We have a lab in Detroit. And when the students see the impact of these skills on the development of these new automotive technologies, their brains are just exploding. But I'm also wondering, how do you think educational programs ensure, because I heard you talk about both of these things, that folks are equipped with both the foundational STEM knowledge, but then also like the practical hands-on skill sets that they need?
So this is one of the things, I used to run an engineering team that was headquartered in the UK. And one of the things that I really admired about that group was our engineers all had ground level trade, get your hands dirty type of experience before they became chartered engineers. So when they came to us, their overall understanding of how to translate their ideas to reality was much stronger. So for us at Carmel, what we've done is we've started opening up our factory and our product development processes to our community. So we've partnered with universities. So my plant is here in Southern California, it's in Moreno Valley, and my headquarters is in Irvine. So everything that we do is designed, engineered, and manufactured right here in SoCal. So we've partnered with UCI near our headquarters. We've partnered with UC Riverside near our assembly plant. Then also the community colleges, the middle schools, and the high schools. We bring them in for tours. When we do training programs for our staff, we invite the community to get involved in it so that they can see, touch, and feel. And again, we want to ignite the passion for the learning because they see the outcome, because then we create a roadmap for them to want to chase it on their own.
As somebody who has worked with Moreno Valley Unified School District, that very much excites me. It also brings me to something that somebody from Moreno Valley Unified asked me the other day, which is, I think something that a lot of us maybe have concerns about, even if we don't necessarily want to say it out loud. The idea of artificial intelligence replacing us,
Yes.
the human experience. So, you know, in automotive, but also in industries across the board, I'll tell you, I hear it from everybody. There is this fear that large language models will replace jobs. And so how do you think we can reframe this narrative in seeing AI as a tool to empower workers and enhance the experience, especially in the EV space?
Well, I think the first thing that we do is we make people recognize the fact that they're already using AI, right? So if you go to shop online and you down select your favorite options, the AI is helping you to get to your goal anyway. So we have to first start with just the education and the familiarity. You're using it. It is literally a tool. But then I think the next piece is that we then give them use cases that help them to create value. We use AI to remove some of the mundane tasks from our work. Absolutely critical, but mundane. Filtering through every fault code that ever comes off of a car so that you know the ones that need a critical design change. AI is perfect for that. And when you utilize those tools in that kind of resource, you effectively supercharge the value of every person who's using it. So part of the way that we do it is to start engaging their usage early. The schools, frankly, what we tell them is bring the AI into the classroom. Help them use the tools, but show them specifically the ways you want them to use it and the ways that you don't. When we bring them to trade programs, let them use the AI to filter it. So I want to teach somebody how to be a technician. I'm going to give him, here's all the data streams that come off of the car, show him how to apply the large language models, and focus his attention on the things that we think might need service or repair, and see whether or not he can create value. What we find is once you come in contact with the value, you create like an addiction, right? It starts to work for you. And you start to realize that it is just that, it's just a tool.
I appreciate your point too about how, raise your hand in here if you've Googled anything in the last 3 days. Like everybody, you have used artificial intelligence, because that summarization that happens up at the top is a large language model pulling trends and consolidating it. So kind of that mindset of getting away from, oh, I don't know how to use this, to I'm actually already using it. It's already become omnipresent, it's huge. And I appreciate you pulling that out, but I'm also curious, in your experience, how do or can EV companies work with organizations or policy to shape the curricula and the learning opportunities to create this pipeline of talented individuals going into the EV industry?
Well, I think, like I said, I think that we have to change the perspective. So we've been so focused on a technology story. The reality is automotive is 4 to 5% of the GDP of every developed nation. So that means that the reach goes way beyond just creating a product. It's the marketing agencies, it's the it's the repair shops, it's the tire companies, it's the magazines, automotive spans broadly across, I mean, everyone gets touched. Everyone gets touched by automotive. So what we've tried to do is we go into the schools and we say, one, let's first give you access. So you're sitting on the outside and you're trying to theorize about what you think we need. Let me show you. So I've had meetings over the past year with junior colleges, middle schools, high schools, with ASE, and they're literally sitting in groups trying to figure out what are we going to need next. The right answer is, let me give you the car, let me give you the product, let me bring you into the plant, let you live it with us. Okay? So then if we can do that, then we can help them to shape a curriculum. They will always see something in what we do that's different than where we we are, because they come at from the perspective of developing the youth and the minds of the children. So they'll see an angle that we didn't think about before. They brought the ideas of how we can gamify part of our training processes that we actually use inside of our business. Then, so if we create that connection so that there's real action there, the next thing then we go to the policymakers. So I've had policymakers flat out tell me they will not support anything in the EV space because it has no bearing on the communities that they serve. Like I had one senator say, I'm focused on communities that are underserved, that are minority-based, and they can't see themselves. They can't see a space for them in the EV world. Well, hold on. Let's draw that roadmap for you. Let's talk about the skill sets that they have today and how we can move them into the next skill set. Again, open the doors. So we had a conversation, without giving too much away, we had a conversation in Sacramento a few months back, and they said, that's the first time anyone's ever given us a roadmap to show me how we can make a connection from the end. So now I'm like going after it, we're supercharging it. Okay, so things as simple as tours, vehicles showing up at the student's school, sitting down and showing them our product development process, abstracting away things that are proprietary, but show them how we go through the development process. When we get through the other side of the development, how do we communicate it, how do we market it, how do we connect? Allowing them to see themselves in the business, that's what our focus is.
You mentioned UC Irvine earlier. Do you have any other examples of partnerships or collaboration that you've seen amongst maybe trade schools or universities or continuing adult workforce education with the ED community? And if not, where would you like to see that happen?
So for us right now, our conversations are with Moreno Valley College, Santa Ana College, UC Irvine, UC Riverside, the school districts in both Irvine and Moreno Valley, the County of Riverside, the County of Orange. So, I mean, I believe that if we're going to be successful with this, we have to start at the middle school, and we have to work our way up. And we have to be very transparent about the fact that not everybody's going to get a PhD. But if we can get to the place where we're exciting their passion, then maybe we create more people who want to become. The reality is, if you look at the stats from the National Science Foundation, only about 60% of the postdocs in the US that are in STEM are actually US citizens. Right? I mean, I'm sorry, I said it backwards. Only 48% are US citizens. So that means that we haven't created a connection with them to say this is a place that you want to be. And if you look at the percentage that are female out of that, it's less than 40%. Ethnic minority, the number drops into single digits. So we haven't made it personal for them yet.
I appreciate you calling out the need to go as low as middle school, because middle school is when the largest number of students deviate across demographic information in terms of scoring on math and science.
That's right.
And so when you see the drop, it's usually around 5th grade. And so if you don't start at middle school and you're only getting them at high school, you've actually already started to lose some of them. So I appreciate the fact that you're calling it out being super young, but also there's plenty of opportunity for more work to be done in higher education as well.
Without question.
And as you're thinking about the future, not just of Karma's workforce, but the workforce in general, what do you think are the biggest opportunities and challenges you foresee in the future of the automotive industry, EV technology, and artificial intelligence over the next 5 to 10 years?
So to me, the biggest challenge we have is the notion of being siloed. So in the automotive industry, historically, is siloed. One manufacturer versus the next, and even the development processes and cycles within the automakers we tend to be siloed. We're seeing more happening today, like the Rivian and Volkswagen is a great example of what we consider non-lateral collaboration. But if we think about what's going to define the auto industry in the future, we're going to have to understand where value is created and where we create momentum for our end consumer. And not every place that we're going to create that momentum is really differentiable one manufacturer from the next. The thing that made Silicon Valley so powerful in the 80s and 90s is the rise of open source and the communities that got together and shared baseline data and information so that they could accelerate the high line product development. The auto industry is at a turning point right now where we need to make that same transformation. And I think that if we can start seeding that idea with young people while we try to activate it as manufacturing leaders, then we create an opportunity for our industry to thrive and grow in the future. If we don't, I think our industry is going to look very, very different in the future.
Kind of sounds like you sort of want us to keep indexing just on the problem-solving focus in education. Would you say that's correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, and the beautiful thing is that transcends sector. So, look, I'm a proponent of STEM, and I have been. I sit on several boards where that's where my focus is, but not everyone's going to be a scientist. We need marketers, we need PR, we need communications, but all of it's linked. And there's a problem-solving element to all of it. So if we can help people to understand how to leverage technology and leverage our vision for the future and bring it back to the place where they have passion, then we have an opportunity to reshape the industry for the future.
Well, you were also saying, I hope it's cool to share this.
No,
Marcus has kind of done a little bit of ping-ponging throughout his career. You started in engineering, and then you went over to, it was finance, marketing. So you kind of became a little bit of a jack of all trades and used it to ping-pong up to the top. Would you recommend that for also developing our youth as well?
I think it's, personally, I think it's a fantastic approach. So when I joined, I started my mainstream automotive career at Chrysler. And they had a development program where you had to move from one domain to the next so you could learn product development. Well, what I found is that once I got done with the product development piece, I didn't know how does a build come along, right? So if you come up with a car concept, how does it actually make it to production? Well, what I realized later was you needed finances buy-in, you needed marketing buy-in, you needed product planning, you needed the manufacturing plan, you needed the downstream distribution channel. So I started chasing the ball, right? Because I wanted to make sure that we got the job done. It took me 3.5 years. The program was a Dodge SRT4. It took me 3.5 years to get through production, chasing that ball around. But I learned so much, and it gave me a different perspective on the industry. And since then, I've moved to startups and services and software. So now I hope I see the world in a more holistic fashion.
I feel like it's important to share. I've been a middle school math and science teacher. I've played a lot of roles in the education industry, but one thing I really like to remind people is that if you look at the number of jobs at FANG companies, 2/3 of them have nothing to do with software engineering in any capacity. We're talking marketing, we're talking biz dev, we're talking human resources, operations. So I do think that as we think about the evolving landscape of EVs and the workforce population, it is important also to encourage those industry developments as much as the more traditional technical space. One note I want to let everybody know, we will have a little bit of time for Q&A if anybody has questions. I know that technically lunch starts at noon. We've been granted a bit of time to go over. So I'm going to ask Marcus 2 more questions, and then if anybody has a question, please feel free to raise your hand. We love controversial questions, those are the best. So my second to last question for you is, what role do you think Karma should play in evolving and understanding this landscape transition in the world of AI?
Ooh, I love that question. So Karma, I always tell people, we're called Karma on purpose. Our goal is that we put positive energy into the industry, and that positive energy will flow through as a byproduct. So all of our employees have t-shirts that say #GoodKarma on the back. Every time I post on social media, it says #GoodKarma. So I think we want to make cars that people fall in love with again. I think that as the industry has evolved personally, this is my personal opinion, so I don't want to offend anybody, but I think that we've lost some of that differentiated, passionate experience in the car, right? I used to see cars going down the road like, oh my God, what is that? And you fall in love with it. And now, there's a lot of cars that 15 different brands go past you and you can't really tell the difference. So I think that's the first thing. I want to touch the heart. After you touch the heart, then I want to use that touch. We play at an elevated price point. So that means we have a small base of customers, and they're highly affluent, and our cars are more discretionary to them. That means that I can give them new technology, and they can give me feedback, and we can create a symbiotic relationship. And I can learn, in some ways, faster than some of my larger counterparts can. Because they will always be obstructed by the risk of their scale. I don't necessarily have that same issue. And then so that translates to, I mean, if you think of racing in F1, a lot of the new technology that we see in normal passenger cars first appeared in pinnacle racing and then cascaded its way all the way down to the consumer. I think we can do the same thing with the tech. And I think the last part is I want to use the passion, that connection to the top, to incite another generation to love and pursue and be passionate about the transportation industry. Like I said, 4 to 5% of the GDP of every developed nation. We see that around the globe, auto industries are growing at an alarming pace. America has always had a leadership position. I think we should maintain that. And I want to be a contributor to it.
I love that. And I'm going to ask you one last question, which I actually didn't prompt you with before.
Good.
100 years from now, where do you want EV tech to be?
100 years from now, I hope that we're at a place where people don't see. I'll tell you how I look at EV. As an engineer, I'm a problem solver. So if you design a car, you want the car to be as powerful as possible, as fast as possible, as efficient as possible. You take an engineer takes an amount of resource and draws the best output from that resource. To me, that's what EV is. So, you know, I worked on ICE engines for years. My last company, we were one of them, that was our core business. But when I look at it, but at best we get to 42% efficiency. When I look at an EV, I have the ability to make a system that's 90% plus efficient. And then when I leverage the software into it, I can go even further. So I think in 100 years, I want people to see EV not for some anomaly, not for something that is for this group or that group or miss someone in the middle. I want them to see it as what it is. It's an engineering technology that make my life better and I can enjoy, right? Because effectively, it's a great experience. We just have to take the compromises away so people don't feel like they're giving up something to get something else.
Agreed. And that's something that really, I think any technological onslaught is kind of how we feel.
Exactly right.
And so with that, I'd like to open it up for questions. So I think, is there a mic, or should people just yell? Oh, there is a mic. Okay, so I think we have time for maybe 3. So is anybody jonesing to ask everybody? Yes, with the beautiful Hoka sneakers, this gentleman in the front.
Thank you. More of a suggestion than a question. I deployed a lot of infrastructure for EVgo over the years, a lot of community colleges. And Rio Hondo, John Frella has been doing this for 12 years. He's got every imaginable charging station you can imagine. And he'll give you the tour, showing classes where he will give them problems to work on in an EV, and then watching them work on that problem, and then give them another problem based on what they just did with that last problem.
That's right.
It's kind of a devilish delight in it. But if you're not working with them, then you should investigate it.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Definitely come up to us afterwards, and I'd like to hear more about that too, actually. Yes, sir.
Well, I'm hoping technology is designed for my life.